Hi there, it's Kevin Benedict reporting live from Brussels, where we're at the Enterprise Mobility Exchange, and I have with me Pierre-Paul. Thank you for joining.
Great, great to be here.
Yeah, so why don't you share with the audience what Freedom One is? Now, you were saying it's a mobility platform.
That's correct.
Now, there's a lot of mobility platforms out there, right?
That's right.
And you guys decided to build your own.
That's right.
Talk to me.
Actually, there's a lot of mobility platforms out there, a lot of mobile app platforms that are out there. And I think the way we differentiated ourselves was really sit down and say what were the key values we needed to bring in from an enterprise perspective and then to the end user perspective. So you got to really look at this as, you know what, one of the first middleware platforms for communication of data that's flowing from the enterprise systems to multiple end units and on any device. So we gave that our mission of having a mobile middleware play. Not only that, but ensuring that, you know what, let's reapply the good lessons of enabling mobile services through workflow tools. And let's not hard code mobile apps. Let's keep the box open, let's keep it flexible. And Freedom One, really the term, is freedom for the client. Because if the client can access a workflow engine with a really cool UI, basically natively feel like they're bringing objects of value and connecting them and actually displaying value once they've gotten off the staging environment into production, editing those workflows, adding workflows is done with a business analyst and an IT configurator. So it frees the enterprise from going through the change request process, defining specs for development, going through all the cycle of development, testing, integration, and whatnot. So there's a lot of freedom at that perspective. There's a lot of freedom for us also. The biggest freedom for us is to say we're going to keep innovating. We're not going to be managing change requests. And that's how we see our exponential development growth happening and our commercialization growth happening also.
So talk to me, Pierre-Paul, about your target markets.
Sure.
And the breadth of your product. Are you doing applications as well as back-end integration in addition to middleware, or where do you stop? Where's the borders?
Okay, good question. So we'll start with the target market. Target market is the large enterprise, and we really took the middleware play where it's horizontal in nature for us. And in our first few years, we're going to keep it pretty well generic. It's important, why? Because the verticals themselves will basically define their processes and make that their vertical solution. With time, we're going to also take a bet, also take a risk in terms of saying now which markets are not well addressed by mobility, and we'll define another application layer or a solution stack dedicated to those verticals. So that's our target market approach. So we get a lot of interest from the transportation industry, we get a lot of interest from government, and FI industries. So those are really large corporations that have invested heavily into enterprise systems, whether that's ERP, CRM, and legacy that they have to maintain. And they need to talk to everybody. They need to talk to somebody who's got an iPhone, an Android technology, a BATA, name it, Windows, everybody. So this technology allows for two main denominator or common denominator to be communicated to you. We leverage the SNS channel bidirectionally, so we have a smart communication between Freedom One and the end customer, which then triggers either an event or a workflow within the enterprise because they've got also their BPMN. Now, the other thing it does is that it also leverages mobile sites. Now, it's been underrated for too long, but you can get a rich mobile site experience as if you had an app on your phone. So out of the box, we really tackle those two, and we kind of limit. If we're going to put a limit, that's where pretty well it stops. Where we're going, however, is saying, no. The large enterprise, within the next 18 to 24 months, will define an app that they will want to support for the long term, no matter what the OS, or they'll define a market share within their client segments of saying, you know what, we're going to support 4 OSs going forward. And these are the functionalities that bring long-term value to our customers. And so we'll focus on that when we cross that chasm. But a lot of companies have invested a lot of money in building apps for Apple, Android, Windows, and the list goes on, and now they're going to be stuck at supporting that. Our onus is start with bidirectional communication, leverage your SMS, leverage mobile sites, and once you've defined lasting apps for your customers, then we'll develop jointly and we'll keep them context aware no matter what the channel they're coming in.
That's a fascinating strategy, one that was echoed yesterday by Philips International, where he said right now he wants to have dynamic applications that can change because he's going to wait till it settles down before he brings in mobility in-house and defines it for the long term.
And you know what? He's bang on. He's bang on when it comes to that. There's too many consequences. There's too many. How do you say? Not legacy, but you're going to start forming legacy if you're not careful. You don't have a really good strategic view of that. I think you have to have a short-term win with your clients so that you keep your market share and you gain mind share in the market. But it's on how you do it, and it's on who's your customer base and how are they going to receive that mobility experience. And I think mobile apps are here and they're here to stay. But I think we're going to get smarter. I think we're going to get more selective, and that's what we're banging our dollars on.
Well, I am one that hopes we all get smarter as well. Thank you for sharing today.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Yep,
Appreciate
bye-bye.
it.